Ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents, in this world that we live in, it's okay to have an opinion. And it's all right that you feel a certain way about a certain incident. Doesn't mean that you take sides. It just means that you have an opinion. And it's all right to have an opinion. You guys are allowed to have your opinion of one situation or another. The Stephen Clark, this individual is now infamously famous because of a situation that happened in Sacramento that happens all too often. I was listening to D.L. Hughley, and let me show you. I was listening to this
Real
video
Candy
in
Rain.
the
I wrote a book.
background
It is called How to Not Get
yesterday.
Shot and Other Advice from White People. It'll be out June 26th. And it basically, the premise of the
And
book is all the
a
advice
lot
that
of people
white people give you to avoid being shot.
would
And
think
this is
that
something,
D.L. Hughley
obviously, I'm not a
is
prognosticator.
a little
I am
bit too
an
vocal,
African American who lives in America.
that he
Who
might
has
be a
seen
little
the
bit
history of
insane.
these things. Before there was
Ladies and
black on black
gentlemen,
crime, before there was
I
any
actually
kind of
had to listen to this young man.
Black men were getting slaughtered by policemen with no one be about to account for.
I actually listened to him, and I decided to listen to him objectively. Now, what do I mean by objectively? Because I decided to listen to him without opinion. Whether or not I appreciate what he says or not what he says, I had to listen to him objectively to see if what he was saying was the truth. He talked about, and I actually appreciate him doing that as well, because they said that black people should train their children. That's right, I used the word black because that's how they said it. That black people should train their children on how to deal with the police. Wait, hold on a minute. Then he says, the children who we can't get to clean up their own room, who we can't get to pick up after themselves because they're in training. That's right, the children are in training. But we're supposed to teach them how to deal with a civil servant who's supposed to know how to deal with a child. Do you understand the idiocracy of that stupidity? Yeah, we're supposed to teach children how to deal with police, but nobody's teaching the police how to deal with children. I saw another headline about a police officer arresting a 9-year-old son and his mother, putting both of them in handcuffs and throwing them in a car. Ladies and gentlemen, where are we? Now, again, nobody is badgering any policeman. I haven't called out any police. I'm not even calling out the police who did it to Stephon Clark or all the other hundreds of people whom they planted evidence in. See, I did not know that when they caught the police planting evidence at a crime scene, they had an attorney come up with some stupidity. Pay attention, it was an attorney who came up with this one. And you can see how stupid it was that they were reenacting the crime scene. Excuse me, you were reenacting the crime? What do you mean you were reenacting the crime? You can't reenact the crime. You can't reenact the crime while the investigation is going on, while you're collecting evidence. Because if you pay attention, when they were planting the evidence, they filed a police report, and nobody lists at the foundation of things. They filed a police report. That police report showed that they used that as evidence, saying that's where they found the drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, the police have body cameras on them for a reason, because so many people were being shot. So much evidence was being planted. So that's why they enacted those statutes, to put body cameras on these individuals so that there could be what they refer to as transparency. But, and again, Stephon Clark's brother, and I don't know his name. I know his name is similar to Stephon, but I don't know his name. And this is the young man right here. But this, and I give all kind of props to this young man, especially because of what he's going through. Because if any of you have lost a loved one, lost a best friend, you understand what he's going through. Now, Don Lemon, they put this idiot, and he is an idiot to me. I don't know the man. I've only seen him a couple of times on CNN. But Don Lemon is an idiot. He's a showpiece. They put him on television, and they put glasses on him. So normally they'll put contacts on him, contact lenses, but they put glasses on him because they want to make this half breed. That's right, I called him a half breed. They want to make him look like he's intelligent. So they put glasses on him. They did that purposely. But I want you to pay attention. He asked STEPHON Clark's brother. He says, first, I want to let you know my deepest sympathy and condolences to you and your family for what you're going through. And I just want to know, how are you doing? What that has to do with anything? How is he doing? This is about his brother. It has nothing to do with how he's doing. You're not interviewing him for how he's doing. He's not promoting anything. But this was hilarious to me. This is being done on live TV. So this was hilarious. And when I say hilarious, I couldn't watch the rest of the interview because I was too busy laughing. And when I say laughing, I had to stop and go to D.L. Hughley because I couldn't watch the rest of it. Because I could not watch him embarrass this man. Let's pay attention, if you guys don't mind. We're going to largen the screen. That's what I said, largen. I have the right to create my own words. That's what we do, don't y'all know? It's called ebonics. Like economics, they create their own words. Legalese, they create their own words, so we get to create ours. Hold on.
Joining me now is STEPHON's brother, STEVON Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's tough, but we appreciate you joining us on this day. Today, I know it's even tougher because there was a wake held for your brother, STEPHON. First, let me express again my sympathy here. How's your family holding up? How are you holding up?
Wait. Look at his face. You can see that he's reading right through this man. Okay? Now, look at the raised eyebrows. Look at the demeanor. Look at the face. There's anger here too. He sees there is some static there. Ladies and gentlemen, this happens amongst individuals of color. Okay? And he sees how fake he is. Sorry, they did this purposely. They put this half-breed on television because they are looking for a certain type of audience. They're looking for a certain type of image. They put these glasses, and if you notice, look at the glasses. Look at how wide they are on his face. Okay? They put these glasses on him. These are not even his actual regular glasses, but they put these glasses on him because it's for television. They need him to appear like he is smart. Because with glasses, you remember how they used to tell you wear glasses, you look like you're smart? So Stevante is his brother's name. So Stevante is going to explain something. I want y'all to pay attention to his explanation. Hilarious! Look at the look on his face. Oh, God! Look at the look on his face, and I didn't stop it yesterday when this happened. I only stopped it now. Look at the look on his face. The idiot is rolling his eyes. Because he is embarrassed, and there's nothing he can do about it. Stevante, more props to you, my brother. Hold on. Silence!
What does that mean?
Next question.
Whoo! Thank you! And I didn't hear this part yesterday because I stopped it. He asked him, how was he doing? Did you not hear me at the very beginning? I told you I didn't watch the whole interview. I stopped right there. Look, he said, next question. Look at his dumbfoundedness. He's telling you, idiot, it ain't about me. This is about my brother. The same as I told you at the beginning of this. This idiot is out of touch. And I'm calling him an idiot because he's an idiot. He knows they're using him, but he's doing it for the fame. He's getting paid to do the job. He can't speak up, ladies and gentlemen, because if he wasn't here doing this job, they'd put somebody else in his place to do the same thing. He's a showpiece. Do you guys understand? They put him there because of a skin color issue, because it's dealing with STEPHON Clark and clashes. Okay? Look, STEPHON Clark's family mourns after an unarmed 22-year-old killed by police in grandmother's backyard. Ladies and gentlemen, understand what went on here. Now they're trying to say Stephon Clark was a criminal or Stephon Clark had a past. The police didn't shoot him for his past. They didn't shoot him because he was a criminal. They shot him. I did not watch the video feed. I'm like his brother. His brother says he doesn't ever want to see it. I promise you, with all my heart, I don't want to see that stuff. But they shot him seconds after coming around to the backyard. Did not identify themselves. They just started yelling. They didn't identify themselves. Then he says, gun, 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 gun. And they started shooting. They shot him 20 times, ladies and gentlemen. 20 times. Because they were shooting to kill. They weren't shooting to injure, maim. They were shooting to kill. That's why you have people being upset, because they're shooting black men to kill all the time. I like D.L. Hughley because D.L. Hughley said, this is the culture. We find white people who have guns, they don't shoot them to kill. But everybody else who are not white, they shoot to kill. Let's listen to the interview, ladies and gentlemen. It's only 2 more minutes long.
Okay. Obviously, you are in grief right now. And listen,
I'm not in grief.
All right.
We haven't slept. We haven't ate. The media keeps following us everywhere we go. The only person that got the message, and that was just before we came on the air, was the mayor. He has called me and he said he's going to help us build the library and the recreational center. That's 24 hours. I am.
Do you see? This is what they're putting that family through, because the media is only in this for ratings. He doesn't know what to say. There's nothing he can say right now. He can change this. If it's me, if I'm doing the interview, I'm going to say, you know what? You're right. You're right. This is your brother's moment. This is your brother's moment. If you have anything you need to say to people, this is your forum. Go ahead. This is your forum. And I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let you talk. That's what I do if I'm interviewing this young man. You saw this young man trying to hold back his emotion. He's letting everybody know that I'm keeping myself together. He already said he ain't slept. He ain't had no rest. His family hasn't had any rest. The media is all around them. They can't even leave the house without the media following them and asking them questions. This shouldn't be, ladies and gentlemen. They should be following around the police chief. They should be following around the police captain. They should be following around the police sergeants. They should be following around the mayor. They should be following around the governor of the state. They should be following around the police union, but they're not doing that. No. This is the news cycle. As soon as another week and a half goes by, you won't be hearing too much about this. But right now, everybody's talking about it. Hold on.
So the mayor said he's going to help you build a library?
Listen to what he's focusing on. The mayor says he's going to help you build a library. This ain't about no stupid library, you idiot. This is what I do, people. I analyze junk like this. And you see, he's taken aback by that, because I promise you, let's see what he's going to say. Because you can see that he's like, oh, you idiot, you don't get it. I promise you, I can see that in his face. But let's Devontae talk.
And a 24-hour recreational center for the kids.
Yeah.
For everybody. We love everybody. He's going to help me. He's going to be a part of it. You know what I mean? He's going to walk out. You know what? I'm not even going to address anymore. You know, just know that I'm going to be real connected. We're going to work with each other. We're going to work with each other. I love my city. I'm Sac strong. I did all this for my city. We are the example of how to do it right. What the media does, they wait till a loved one dies, they find out it's a tragedy, they swarm that person, they put them in grief, they ruin their lives forever. Their lives are never the same. Don Lemon, let me talk to my people, okay? Yeah. You black, I'm black, let's be black now. Don't you do that down, Don Lemon.
Well, I just want to tell you that.
Shut up is what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, let me talk to my people. And remember, I said before he even said it, I would say this is your forum. You got something you want people to hear, this is your forum. Go ahead and take it. He is not going to let him do it because he's been told what the conversation is supposed to be on. He knows this because he's been instructed as to what to not to talk about. You see, they prep them before they have the interview. You notice he's in a studio. See the backdrop? So hold on, Don. Don, shut up.
I just want to tell you that the media.
Hold on. I'm not blaming the media. Okay. I'm not blaming, but the way you guys treat us, you guys. I told you I stopped calling them out. We have how many phones do we have in the family? Can
you let me get a word
7,
in, please? Because listen, I have to manage
8.
the time here so that we can get something out of this interview because a lot of people are watching, and you're through the media, whether you like it or not.
Woo! Whether you like it or not. Uh-oh. Look at this look. Look at that look, people. Look at that look. He's now talking to him like he's a child. And you don't do that to a black man. You do not talk to a black man like he's a child. I can only tell you what's about to happen next because, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't seen this interview, but I can only tell you because I understand the communication between people of color. Let's see if I'm right.
Your brother's story will be told. The media is giving you a platform.
We love STEPHON. I am.
Yeah.
Don Lemon, say his name.
So tell me about your brother, please.
Don Lemon, say his name.
Stevante, listen, you're in grief.
Look at him. Again, this is a stupid man. You see, again, he's pulling the party line. They won't let him talk about his brother. This is supposed to be about his brother. It's not supposed to be about him. He wanted to talk about a library, and he wants to talk about you have to accept the media. Okay? He wants to talk about his brother and what's going on. Let's listen.
I'm sorry for that.
He's not going to say
know
his
how
name.
it is.
We'll never do CNN. You messed up on our name. You sent our driver late.
Well, and
that's messed up.
I thank you so much for joining us. And my heart goes out for you. Thank you.
CNN. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's what goes on. That's all they want you to see. And I'm going to get this red screen off because it is an issue with red. They do that all the time. But you can tell that this young man he's frustrated with him and the stupidity. He didn't want an interview. They needed the ratings. They just needed to be able to say they had the interview. They covered the story. Okay, that's all they wanted to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I really am sorry that this family is going through that. And I am sorry that other families have to go through this. People are dying every single day, and nobody seems to care. You know, we hear about, oh, somebody just got shot or somebody just died in the hospital. We see funerals every day, and you know what? We don't stop to think about the fact that somebody has lost their life. We go on with our lives as if nothing happened. Does anybody remember Las Vegas? Now, YouTube and their situation yesterday with somebody coming to the office and shooting, that's the next news cycle. So that's going to take away from the STEPHON Clark story. They needed another story to be the controlling factor. So the shooting at YouTube yesterday, you know, that story doesn't make sense. The woman walked in there and she injured 3 people. Why would she walk in there just to injure people? If she went in there with a gun, her intentions were not to injure. We don't have anything about anybody running up to her, tackling her, beating her up, or anything like that. We just have her injuring 3 people. So it is clear when they had thousands of people at that particular campus, it is clear that she wasn't there to try to kill 5, 6, 7. She wasn't trying to do no mass murder. She didn't bring no machine gun. So why only injuring 3? Was she trying to send a message? Well, if you're only injuring them, see, when you shoot somebody, they ain't running too fast. Somebody said they heard like 10 shots. So obviously, she's not a good shot. That's a good thing because it means less people had the likelihood of not going home to their families because those people didn't do anything. Even if they did something to this woman, it was nothing to the level to where they should have lost their lives. Don't advocate violence on any level. I hate guns, never touched a gun, never want to hold a gun. Okay? That is me. Don't like guns. Can't stand guns. Why? Because I've seen the damage a gun can do. It takes lives. Oh, it's not the gun that takes lives. It's the people with the gun that takes lives. That's the stupid story that people tell. Guns are what kill. If the person didn't have the gun, they would have to find another way. You don't say an axe is what killed somebody. If you don't say a chainsaw is what kills, it's not the chainsaw that kills, it's the people that kill. That junk is what the NRA and the stupid attorneys put together. I don't care about the NRA. I don't care if you want to have your right to bear arms. Knock yourself out, people. That's on you. Somebody asked me yesterday. They asked me something similar to what is my reliance? Who am I relying on? I told them I rely on my God for everything. Why? Because He's made sure that I'm taken care of. He's made sure that I've made it to this point. He made sure that I woke out of that stupid coma. That's what He did. He's made sure that I understand He exists. Oh, I got faith in God. I don't care if you have faith in God. This is not about you. Ladies and gentlemen, this video is not about me. I just wanted you guys to see the media for who they are. Okay? I just want you to see them for who they are. And I thought he was an idiot. I don't watch him. I don't watch the news. But yesterday I decided, okay, let's see where they're going with this story. What direction are they headed in? Do you notice that they took everything about him being unarmed and not doing anything illegal or wrong? Okay. Now, wait, hold on. Gotta turn this one on because it's exactly what I told
Benjamin
you.
Crump, he's the attorney for STEPHON Clark's family. Mr. Crump.
Hold on 1 second. We're gonna get to this attorney in a moment. Look at the title of the video. Cops bark orders with no time to comply. You see, they didn't identify. They did not give him any time. He turns around, he's in the backyard on his cell phone. They can see as they come around that corner. I haven't seen the video, people. I have not seen the video, but they can see as he comes around the corner, the two officers, that his hand is up next to his ear. Or if he's like me, he speaks on the speakerphone, so his hand is next to his mouth. And you come around the backyard and you yell at somebody, he turns around because you just startled him. That's right. Nobody's expecting nobody to be in their backyard in the middle of the night. Let's hear this. I was about to shut the video down, but I saw the
Thanks for
title.
being here.
Let's hear what they have to say at CNN
Good morning.
again.
Thank you for having me.
So the Sacramento police chief quickly released that body cam video. Does that give you faith that the
Okay, hold on. He didn't quickly release the body cam video. The body cam video was not released until almost a week and a half later. See, I remember the only thing they showed you were those pictograph type video where all you saw was images from the helicopter. You couldn't see what was actually going on. They didn't release the body cam video, say he quickly released it. The media, they need to support the police department because of the contracts that are had, okay? But she needs to say that. And now you notice they had Don Lemon speak to Stephon Clark's brother, but now they don't have him doing it. By the way, she's speaking to an attorney. So let's see what the attorney and her got to talk about.
Investigation that they're now launching will be fair and transparent.
Well, even though they released the video to try to give transparency, that was only one aspect of what happened. The next morning after the tragic shooting where he was shot at 20 times, Allison, in his grandmother's backyard, she sleeps 5 feet from where he was executed every night in that house. They told them the reason they had to do that was because he had a gun. And then they had to walk that back. And then the next day they said it was because he had a toolbar or crowbar. And then they had to walk that back. And then finally they had to admit that all he had was a cell phone. So STEPHON Clark's family is very distrustful of anything that the Sacramento police does or says from that point, because they were not honest, at least they believe, at the very beginning when they asked, why did you have to execute him?
One of the other...
Wait, hold on. Did y'all hear this idiot? This is the attorney. This idiot qualified and quantified his statement by saying, at least that's what they believe. Excuse me, did the police say he had a crowbar? I didn't know they said that. But thank you for admitting that the police said he had a crowbar. Okay, thank you for admitting that the police said he had something else. Remember, they said he had a gun the first time, then they said he had a crowbar, then they finally, after he said, they had to admit that he had a, pay attention, a cell phone. So the police wasn't transparent. They weren't upfront about what really took place. They simply could have said it's an ongoing investigation. It's a fluid situation. Go look at the police chief over in Bruno, California, at the YouTube campus. Notice how the police said it's a fluid situation. I don't have any information on that yet, but we will update you when the time comes. That's how they normally do, but not in this case. He had a gun. Oh, he had a crowbar. Oh, he had a cell phone. Sorry, my bad.
Pieces that shows a lack of transparency is that the officers muted the microphones on their body cam shortly after the deadly encounter. Here's what the police chief said about why that's allowed, why they...
Whoa, wait a minute. The officers muted their microphones? Wait. Why would the officers mute their microphone? What would be the reason? They have body cameras on, so what would be the reason for them to be muted? Aren't they supposed to be transparent? Isn't that what the body cameras are for? So let's see what the police chief says the reason is for them muting their microphones shortly after. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, I don't believe they muted their microphone. I believe when they released the video that they purposely muted the microphone. Now, even if they muted their microphone, you guys don't understand. There's no ability for them to mute their microphone. For them to mute their microphone, they would have to do it on purpose. But let's pay attention.
Might have done that. Listen to this.
In the officers' training, there's a couple type of instances where they are told that they can turn off mute their body cameras. Those are things like if they're having a personal conversation, if they're talking to a confidential informant or a confidential matter. Now, whether they were...
Impossible for them to be having a private conversation. It's impossible for them to be talking to a confidential informant in this situation. They just ran into the backyard, gun, and started firing, and then they mute their microphone. It was an investigation. It was an ongoing investigation. So what personal matter were they talking about? Hey, Jim, my wife, she's supposed to be cooking me dinner tonight. I'm going to be late. Man, I'm going to have to call her and let her know I'm going to be late again. Well, you don't get off until 12. Yeah, well, I'm still going to be late. Probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you know how she is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think you need to go get and give her a call. Hey, you ready to turn the mic back on? Yeah, why don't we? All right, yeah. Okay, let's turn the mic back on. That doesn't make any sense, does it? But that's what they want you to believe. This idiot, too, is spewing the county line, okay, because he's a token. Look, he's got all his little bars and everything. He's a token. but let's play.
Or weren't doing that is part of the investigation, so we'll determine that.
Mr. Crump, what do you think? Maybe they were having a personal conversation.
Where it seems like a very suspicious time to do that, and the family believes that that was when they started to try to conspire to try to cover this up and justify an unjustified shooting. And
Wait. The family believes? This has nothing to do with the family believes, you idiot. He's an attorney. Out of his mouth should be coming all types of presumptions. He raises the presumptions now. Oh no, that's not why they turned the mics off. No. This was an active crime scene. They could not have been discussing no private matters. They could not have been speaking with a confidential informant at this time because it's an ongoing crime scene. Police procedure doesn't allow them to take personal time during an ongoing investigation when the situation is still fluid. Do you guys understand? He's an attorney. He knows this. I told you I've been doing this for too long. He knows what policy is. He's an attorney, but he keeps talking about the family believes. Why? Because he needs to take it away from him because he's an officer of the court. So he wants to make it look like the family's angry, they're upset, they're grieving, instead of him telling people the truth. That he says it's mighty suspicious. Mighty suspicious? Fine, you said it was mighty suspicious. Then explain why it's mighty suspicious. Explain why they turned their microphones off during an ongoing investigation. And he said they were having a private conversation. How could they be having a private conversation when the camera is showing the ongoing crime scene, the ongoing investigation, the gathering of evidence, the collecting of evidence? How could it have been a private conversation? Ladies and gentlemen, again, it was a lawyer who came up with they get to turn off their microphones in this situation. Then it was the judges who agreed that they get to turn off the microphone, but there's no way in the world they could ever prove that they were having a private conversation. Because when you ask them what they were talking about, they're going to have time to prepare their statements. Hold on.
And number two, members of the Civilian Review Board contacted my office and they were outraged because this issue had come up in meetings before with the police leadership where they said officers aren't allowed to turn off their body cameras, and they wanted to make sure that was clear. And they were told yes. So now when they see this video of STEPHON Clark and them muting their microphones, they said that was the very issue they wanted to prevent because they wanted transparency.
So at least 5 minutes passed between the time that STEPHON Clark was shot and the time that the officers approached the body. Have they explained that to you or the family?
Oh yeah, you guys, you don't know that. Many of you guys don't know that this is what takes place. When there's a shooting, the police, hold on, you need to understand, when they are suspecting that an individual has committed a crime and they shoot that individual, they literally wait for the individual to bleed out. You're going to find out that in STEPHON Clark's, and I didn't know they waited 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, I did not know they waited 5 minutes until she said exactly what she just said. But the autopsy of STEPHON Clark said that he bled out. That's their routine. That's their practice. This is what they do. I'm only telling you this because this is what I know. I told you I watched 14 people die in 1 year. These are people that I knew, several of them by gunshots. I watched people scream as the police would not do anything to help their relative. You guys have seen videos on YouTube about how the relatives are saying, help him, and the police are not doing anything. And they just let the person bleed out and die. They shot him 20 times. Remember, it was only 2 officers. There weren't 4 or 5 officers. There are 2 officers who chased around. He has his partner. Remember, 2 officers. So how in the world could they shoot him 20 times?
They have not, and that's an important observation because Not only did they not give him any warning, they did not identify themselves, but the police gave
Whoa, wait a minute. Are you saying the police didn't identify themselves? I wonder who else has been saying that they did not identify themselves. Yeah, because I heard the beginning of the audio before they started shooting. I heard the beginning of the audio where they didn't identify themselves. So all they said was he didn't comply or something like that. And that's what they love to say. But if you listen to the audio, they don't identify themselves. They come into his backyard, and this is for his family to take this and use this for their benefit. Because I saw that when I first looked, that these idiots did not identify themselves, and they're trained to identify themselves, but not in black neighborhoods. Oh no, oh God, no. Let me see your hands, let me see your hands, is what they're trained to say in black neighborhoods. Ladies and gentlemen, that's their training. We don't go through training with them. You guys heard me speak about that on the call yesterday where I called the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or it's Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. I told the young lady, whatever her name was, dang it, I can't think of her name. Marcy, Melissa, whatever her name is. I told her, I said, I don't work for you. I don't go through your training. I don't know what you're trained to do, what you're trained to ask. All I know is I was calling to get some information, and I was trying to explain that to you, and you interrupted me. You see, they have, these organizations, these agencies have policies and procedures. We're not privy to their policies and procedure because they don't share that with us. We don't go through their training, but we do know that the police are supposed to identify themselves. As you see, he had no time to say, excuse me, what are you guys looking for? What do you want? What are you doing here? His gun, gun, gun. All he did was turned around. They caught him by surprise. He didn't know what was going on. Ladies and gentlemen, just imagine you are in your backyard and all of a sudden somebody pops out of a corner, start yelling at you. What are you going to do? What's going to be your action? Aren't you going to be startled? Aren't you going to jump back? Well, you can imagine him jumping back because somebody surprised him. Surprise! Hey, 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 happy birthday. Okay? Nobody likes being startled. But these individuals startled this man, running back there, yelling at him. You could see STEPHON at the time was not running. Remember, they were chasing someone. He was not running when they came around the corner. He was not even walking briskly. He was on a cell phone having a conversation. And the family needs to pull those cell phone records because that will prove that he was on a telephone call. And I feel sorry for the guy who the police were actually chasing. Sorry, I must say this. I hope they never catch him because he will never get anything close to what's called a fair trial. They will put all the weight on him, plus they'll put what the police officers did on him, charge him for murder in the second or third degree. I assure you that's what they'll do, which would not be fair to him. Now, mind you, if he had committed a crime, then fine, everybody should reap what they sow. They should pay for it. But they should not attribute this death to that person because he had nothing to do with what the police did. What the police did, they did because that's their training. That's what they're taught to do. These officers patrol black neighborhoods, so they are trained differently than the officers who patrol white neighborhoods. Sorry, it's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, y'all. Hold on.
STEPHON Clark no humanity after they executed him as they let him lay there dying in the backyard before they tried to attempt to give him assistance. And from the video, it seems that they handcuffed him when they approached him. And so it's troubling on many.
No, you're an idiot. He's an idiot, everybody. When an individual is suspected of having a gun, the police must handcuff him. They must secure the individual, the so-called suspect. So that's their policy. They have to handcuff him. This idiot knows this. Okay, now he's trying to play on people's heartstrings. That's their policy. But they did not render any type of assistance for over 5 minutes. And when they handcuffed him, they could clearly see that he did not have a gun, that he had a cell phone in his hand. That's why the officers turned off their mics. Because now they had to create a narrative.
Many levels for Stephon Clark's family and so many others around America who has watched this video.
Look, the video is obviously very disturbing to watch somebody be shot and killed, but in the video...
Whoa, you said but? She says it's obviously very disturbing to watch somebody be shot and killed. Then she said but. Hold on.
In the video, don't you hear the police saying, show us your hands? And they thought that when he turned around or whatever, held up the cell phone, they thought that it was a gun.
Allison, it is less than 17 seconds from the moment that they interact with him until they make the decision to execute him. Now, it's so problematic because they are barking orders, but it doesn't seem like they give them any time to comply with their orders. And this is just here in Sacramento, but when you look at it on a larger scale, there have been 73 civilians killed by police bullets since 2015. And it is shocking to some, but not to all of us who follow civil rights in America, that 70 of those were African Americans. So why is it that people can kill children in schools, can bomb homes in Austin, Texas, the police follow them, observe them, don't shoot one bullet, but an African American man with a cell phone is shot at 20 times? It is a national issue, and we have to deal with it and quit trying to exonerate police officers.
He's running for district attorney, you guys. Yep, he's going to run for district attorney because he needs to say that he helped fight for civil rights because he brought up it's a civil rights issue. You moron, this is about Stephon Clark. This is not about nobody's civil rights. This is about the fact that the police sat up there and said, let me see your hands, let me see your hands. And he turns around because they startle him, and then they shoot him after saying, gun, gun, gun. He can't say, wait a minute, what are you talking about, gun? Who's got a gun? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, no. I got to pause, you guys. I got to prove this to you. Hold on. Sorry, folks, this one's edited. Had to make sure. This is from the Boondocks. He's got a gun. Hold on. This is hilarious. Hold on.
Watch my back. I got you front.
Hey, the Rummy, my close friends and allies. It is good to see you.
Go put that in the truck.
Hey, slow your roll, Chief. You guys have to pay first. Damn, chill out, Aladdin Hussein. You know I'm good for it. Hey, guys, you know.
He called him Aladdin Hussein. Hold on.
The rules, no exceptions, cash only. Look, he got a weapon.
Whoa, wait a minute now. Put the gun down.
Gun? What gun? I'm not holding gun. Guys, it's me. Hey, your father helped me build this store.
I don't know you, mother. Now, put down the weapon. Put it down.
There is no weapon. Look.
Drop the weapon.
I don't see a weapon.
There is no weapon. They're robbing the store.
I am not holding a weapon. I am not holding a weapon.
Officer, this motherfucker got a gun pointed at you. You want to die?
What?
Do you want to die?
I don't want to die.
He does not have a gun.
He does have a gun, officer. Trust me. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
I don't see a gun. Man, this. Whose side you on? Mine or this motherfucker who's obviously of terrorist descent? Wait, I think I can see the gun now.
Oh, snap. They see a gun all of a sudden. There wasn't a gun, but all of a sudden the officer has been convinced that there is a gun. Let's see what happens after the officer is now convinced that somebody has a gun when they don't have it.
Oh, good. Now we all see the weapon. Now you hand over that weapon on the count of 3, or I swear to Almighty God, I'll blow your head off. 1.
I can't give you a weapon I'm not holding. You're thinking of the Korean shop north of here.
2.
Lizzie,
still holding it?
He is not holding a weapon.
Time's up!
No.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the police for you. Okay? This happens every day. Every day. Every day. Okay? This is what they do. They yell and scream, somebody has a gun when there is nobody with a gun. Every single day. And what you guys are led to believe, because STEPHON Clark was a black man, or because they say, because STEPHON Clark was a black man, they say that he commits a crime when he hadn't committed any crime. This goes on all of the time. They say he was a criminal. So the news media paints him out to be a criminal. You know, somebody actually put something up about STEPHON Clark supposedly hating black people. Excuse me? STEPHON Clark himself was a person of color. His children were persons of color. His girl was a person of color. His grandmother's a person of color. His mother's a person of color. His brother's a person of color. So the idiot who put that up was an idiot who lied. Ladies and gentlemen, was an idiot who lied. It's all in an effort to defame STEPHON Clark. Don't fall for it. And the problem is Sacramento juries. Look, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing about juries. I didn't know it until a recent case, and I didn't realize it, but these idiots, when they pick these juries, they do it on purpose. What do I mean by they do it on purpose? The people that they pick for the jury, these people are chosen specifically to be on these juries, to sway the other jurors in a particular direction. And I just wish so many of you would, when you get those jury notices, go and serve on the jury and exercise your right to hang that jury if they don't have the evidence to prove the individual did this or did that. Sorry, if you guys only knew that these attorneys must represent the agency, they are not supposed to represent their client. If you guys only knew, really, if you only knew why there was no such thing as a fair trial in America. No one can ever get a fair trial in America as long as it's an administrative agency controlling and running everything, because they control the narrative. They control the evidence. They control what a person's allowed to say and not allowed to say to a jury. Prosecution can say whatever they want, but the moment the defense tries to put on their case and say what they need to say to the jury, that's when you get objection, Your Honor, sustained. Counsel, I'm warning you. Happens every day. Nobody pays attention. Happens every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my take on the STEPHON Clark story. Like I said at the very beginning, everybody has an opinion, but STEPHON Clark doesn't need to be dragged through the mud by anybody. The system is dragging STEPHON through the mud. The media is dragging STEPHON through the mud. His brother was correct. He loved his grandmother, he loved his mother, he loved his children. He loved his children's mother. He was and I like it when he said, there was another interview he did where he said his brother was a funny guy. And you can see that they enjoyed being around each other. You can see how much that family is hurting. But nobody cares. Ladies and gentlemen, do you care? Do you care about what they're going through? What about that other person who lost a family member? What about that other person whose family member just ended up in a hospital and just got diagnosed with a terminal illness? What about that other person who was just in that car accident? Do you care? No, you don't, because we've been desensitized. There's so much violence on TV and in video games. We've been desensitized. We don't care when oh, I care. No, you don't. You say you care, but you don't care. Okay? You say you care. See, a lot of people tell people how they feel for them and they feel they're sorry. They'll show up a couple of weeks. What about that family member or that friend that died a year ago? Are you still checking on the family to see how they're doing? A young lady, she lost her husband 2 years ago. And I just called her, and we speak a lot. Like I said, she's like a mother to me. And so I called her and I asked her, how was she doing? And how did she handle the anniversary of his death? At the end of the conversation, you know what she said to me? She said, I want to thank you for asking me that. Nobody asked me about that. Nobody asked me questions like that. But I want to thank you for asking me that question because it really does help. That's what she said to me. Because I wasn't asking her because I didn't care. I was asking her because I did care. Because I understand a little. I don't understand what she's going through because everybody takes death differently. Which is why I'm very angry with Don, so-called Lemon, because he did not understand what STEPHON's family was going through. Stevante, he didn't understand what Stevante was going through. He could not even relate to him. And Stevante said, look, man, you're black just like I'm black. Come on, man. And he didn't realize that character that he's talking to is a puppet. He's a prop that he can't relate. Ladies and gentlemen, start relating. Start consoling one another. Start showing you care. You guys are supposed to be loving your neighbor, and you don't realize that you're not doing that. You're mimicking it. You're faking it. You're Don Lemoning it. You don't want to be like Don Lemon. You don't want to be like that idiot. As a matter of fact, you don't want to be an idiot. So stop pretending you care. Show some empathy. What is empathy? That's the ability of taking yourself and putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Oh, no, I can't put my feet in their shoes. I wear a size 12. Then that means that it's going to take a little bit of effort for you to put yourself in their shoes and to look at things from their perspective, their viewpoint. That's the whole purpose of using the phrase empathy, putting yourself in the other person's situation or position and looking at it from their vantage point. When you're able to do that, you're much, much able to sit up there and say, you know what? I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I think I have some sort of an idea, or even if I don't know precisely, if what I am thinking you're going through, I really am sorry. I do these videos from time to time talking like this to people. My hope is that maybe one, maybe two will appreciate it. Maybe. My hope is that the Stephon Clark family will understand this. And yes, I'm going to do this because, ladies and gentlemen, I hate death. The God that I serve knows how much I hate death. Lord knows how much okay, so I hate death. I can't stand death. Okay, we talked last week. I showed you guys that I'm just going to show you two scriptures, and I'm going to end this video because I got work to do. Okay, so we're going to go to, got to wait for this stupid window, and I'm glad it's getting shorter because I'm tired of that window popping up. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, tired of that window popping up. We're going to go to John 1. Those of you who speak Espanol, we're going to go to 1, and let's go to the 5th chapter. Okay, we're going to go to verse 28. Now, I've shown this to people before. You should be familiar with this. He says, wonder not at this, because there will come a day, an hour, in which all those in the tombs, the graves, shall hear his voice. Whose voice? The Son of Man. How do we know? The Son of God, who referred to himself often as the Son of Man. They will hear his voice. And it says, and they shall come forth. Those who did good things will rise to life, and those who practice evil things will rise to judgment. That's called Judgment Day. Judgment Day is in the future, people. It hasn't happened. Oh, and by the way, those of you who go to these churches and they teach you that, oh, he's gone to heaven, it was God's will. Excuse me, you just heard where he said they're still in the tombs. They're waiting. How do you know that? You said that every scripture in the Bible has got to be backed up by at least 2 more scriptures. You're right. So let's back it up. So we're going to go to verse 11 and 12. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, whose face the earth and the heavens fled away. Not because he was ugly, but because of his magnificence, power, honor, and the glory that he brings. And no place was found for them anymore. That's the old earth and the old heavens. But he says, and I saw the dead, those who died, the small and the great, whether they were peasant or king, standing before God on the earth, because the earth is God's footstool. And scrolls were open. Scrolls, books. And another scroll was open, which was that of life, or the book of life. And the dead, those who have died, were judged not based on what they did before, because they can't be judged based on what they did before, because Romans, the 6th chapter, verse 7 says, he who has died has been acquitted of his sins. So once a person has died, all of their sins are erased. So the dead were judged out of the things written in the scroll. Well, you can't be judged on that for which you do not know. So it has to be what happens during the time the scroll is in effect, according to their works. Oh, and the sea, those who died at sea, the sea gave up those dead in it. Oh, I buried my family at sea. Anyway, and death and Hades, see, Hades is hell. So death and Hades are not the same thing. Hades is not a place where you burn. Why? Gave up the dead in them, and they were judged according to their works, and death and Hades were cast into the... Hades was cast into the... Wait a minute, hold on. How can Hades be cast into itself? I thought Hades, hell, was the lake of fire. Thought it was fire and brimstone. Well, no, ladies and gentlemen. When people die, they don't go to fire and brimstone. It just says death and Hades. Death, when people die, and Hades, the grave, hell, is cast into the lake of fire. You mean there's an actual lake that burns with fire? No, it's a symbol. It's symbolism. It's revelation. It just says this is the second death. So it lets you know the lake of fire means the second death. Can you prove that? Because that don't make no sense, that hell simply is the second death when you refer to it as being a place where people burn. Yeah, I can prove it. Revelation 20th chapter, verse number 8. It says, and their part is in the lake that is burning with fire and brimstone, which is a second death. The other Bible says this means the second death. So let's go back. Let's get to another version. No, we can't do that one. That one ain't going to do it. So we can go back to the KJ. You know that? No, because that one's going to say something. Let's go to the American Standard Version. Okay? So that we can get this right. No, that still says this is. Looking for one that's going to give you more of the meaning where it actually says this means the second death. But I see we are not going to find one. Yeah, because they all say this is the second death. That fire is the second death. Oh God, that's funny, because ain't nothing in the translation saying nothing about that fire is the second death. Okay, but that's because they gotta continue that stupid lie to where they tell you when you go to hell, you burn forever and ever. Okay, they say the lake of fire is the second death. Okay, but Hades is another word for hell. Let's close you out. Ladies and gentlemen, no need to look no further. Let's see. H-E-A-D. No. ADEAS. That's what I'm looking for. I put EAS. I just need to make sure y'all understand. Hades. There's a god of Hades. See, Hades comes from Greek mythology. It is a Greek word. Okay? Hades comes from Greek mythology. It is a Greek word. The burning forever and ever comes from Greek mythology. So, ladies and gentlemen, why is your religion teaching you Greek mythology? Why are they incorporating that into your beliefs? Not my. Don't tell me you don't do that, because if you believe that people, when they go to hell, they burn, then you believe in Greek mythology, because that's what Hades do. Greek mythology, the god of Hades. Okay, see, Hades was both the name of an ancient Greek god of the underworld, underdog. Anyway, and the name of a shadowy place below the earth, which is considered. Do you understand? The whole dying and going to hell comes from Greek mythology. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't make this up. According to various Christian denomination, is a place or state of departed spirits. People, it's not a Christian view. It's a pagan view, because they mix paganism with Christianology, which brings about psychology and psychosis and stupology. Okay? So please understand, those of you who shy away, I don't want to talk about religion. I ain't talking about religion. I'm talking about the fact that you all need to understand, when a person dies, they remain in the grave until Judgment Day. What you don't understand, watch this. Let's do 7. No, we don't want to do 7. Yeah, let's do 1 through 6. Okay, this pulled up 21 through 6. And I saw an angel coming out of heaven, having the key of the abyss and holding a great chain. And he seized the dragon, the ancient serpent, the one called devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. Now remember, they teach you that Satan is in hell. Satan is in hell. Ladies and gentlemen, Satan is not in hell. Okay? He never was. He's not in Hades, because Hades is the Greek word for hell. Satan is not in hell. And bound him for 1,000 years, and he threw him into the abyss. And he locked and sealed it up over him to keep him from deceiving the nations anymore until the 1,000 years were ended. People, if you look in the Bible, you'll see 1,000 years to God is 1 day. 1,000 years to God is 1 day. So when you hear Judgment Day, it's referring to the 1,000 years. Do you know how we know this? Because this talks about the thrones that were set up, and they were given authority to judge. Judgment Day is not where God judges you. It's where Jesus and these other ones who sit on these thrones with him judge during Judgment Day. And it says they came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. Pay attention. They reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. And what do? They judge those who are resurrected. Sorry if you didn't know this. Now, I apologize if you don't want to hear it because your minds are closed. But for Stephon Clark's family, I hope they'll see that the Bible promises that they can see their loved one again. See, this is the only thing that has kept me living until now, is I firmly and fully believe in the promise my God has made in a resurrection. Okay? Oh, and by the way, right here, verse number 6. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy are all of those who share in the first resurrection. The second death has no power over them. See, the second death is not a place. It's a thing. It's a state. It says, but these individuals who partake in what's called the first resurrection, there are 2 resurrections. There's what's called the general resurrection. General, could you come over here and give me some insurance? And then you have the second resurrection. What's the second resurrection? That's the general resurrection. The second resurrection is known as the general resurrection, the one where Jesus said, all of those in the memorial tomb will hear his voice and come out. He didn't say some of them, he said all of them. Everybody gets a resurrection except for the wicked, those who are deemed not to be deserving of the resurrection. Who are the wicked? Those are the people who blaspheme against the Holy Spirit. You know those people? Or the ones who were, well, we won't talk about that because there's no reason to talk about that. You don't want to even be a part of that group. But it says these people who are part of the first resurrection, these are the ones who sit on those thrones with Christ. It says, and they will be priests of God and of Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years. Over who? Over those people who are resurrected. Oh, and those, there's another group, sorry. We got to do this. This is the last one, then I'm going to go about my business. My job is to show you. See, millennium, 1,000 years. Christ reigns for 1,000 years. He judges over for 1,000 years. And let's do 9 through 12. No, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for that one. Wait, maybe I am. Give me a second. I gotta pause y'all for a second. Sorry. I had to sneeze. Lord has mercy. What you need to understand is there are two groups. You have that group that will reign with Christ for 1,000 years, and you have this group. It says after that, look, and before me was a great multitude that no one could count, out of every nation, tribe, people, and tongue, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. Now, if you go to Matthew's, the 5th chapter, and roughly about 37, you'll find out that there is something unique. Let me see, 37. No, then it's 36. I apologize. So we're going to do 35. This is all from memory, people, so I apologize. I don't have it in my hand. I have it in my head. Okay? So it says in verse number 34 that you should not swear by anything, nor should you swear by the earth, for it is his footstool. So that's how, when we go here, let's do 2. When we go here, and it says they were standing before the throne and before the Lamb, they're standing on the earth because the earth is God's footstool. If it's his footstool, pay attention. And they cried out with loud voice, saying, salvation we owe to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb. So they're standing before the throne. Okay? In a figurative sense, not in a literal sense. Sorry, if you believe something different, that's not my problem because the Bible never said anything different. You guys get these people who stand up on a podium and they start telling you all kind of stuff and they never turn and show you what they're talking about. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're going to pay for that. They're going to pay for misleading people. But the fact is, this has nothing to do with what I believe or what you believe. This has everything to do with what it says. Look, I'm not reading this from a particular Bible. This is the New International Version, by the way. I just typed it in Google and was able to show you this is what it says. And the reason why I use the Bible-Discovery program is because nobody can say, oh, no, y'all wrote your own Bible. Because that's what people say. So, again, many people hope to be a part of this great crowd, which no man can number, who survive, and others want to be who have died. And they want their relatives to be, who have died, part of the group that are resurrected. That's my hope. That's my survival. That's why I exist. And if I take the time to show this to people, hey, even if one person bothers to do the research on this, and it changes things for them, and it now gives them hope that they can see their dead loved ones, or that they themselves can survive what's about to happen, more power to you. But I can tell you is that, and I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again because it's necessary. They are getting ready to do some damage, ladies and gentlemen. They're getting ready to do some damage. You all see it's coming. Pay attention to what's going on around you. I told you, everybody's been desensitized. Everybody has forgotten. What have they forgotten? Everybody's forgotten about the fact that these governments and these nations have been killing people. Over 100 million people died in the last 100 years. 100 million. That means, and this is just from war, people. This is not from diseases. That's a different number. 100 million people dying just from war. Why are we having wars? Who's starting the wars? It has nothing to do with you or me. We are not starting the wars. We're not involved in that. It is about them deciding that they want to see who's got the biggest penis between nations. That's all it is. Somebody wants to see if they can piss in a longer stream for a longer period of time than the other person. They're having a pissing contest. And millions, hundreds of millions of people are dying. And nobody is paying attention. Oh, I paid attention. Ain't talking to you then. You ain't nobody, are you? Again, all of the things that are happening, I don't know how long you guys are going to sit back and just say, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. Well, if you don't want to have nothing to do with that, then you're going to have to start learning what you need to do to be separate from that. Because right now, you want to vote for a president, then you're complacent in what that president does. Even if you voted for the other party, do you understand? That's how you show your allegiance, your support, pay attention. I use the word allegiance. What's another word for allegiance? Does anybody know in a crime what allegiance means? It means an accessory. Do you understand? No, you don't understand, because voting is something simple. If you don't vote, you have no voice. But they keep talking about, well, I know President Trump got elected. It's because he's peddling to his base. He doesn't have a base, you idiots. Yes, I said that. All of you who believe that President Trump was voted in by the public, you need to rethink that. He was voted in by what's called the delegatory college. They claim they represent you. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't represent me. I don't vote. Because I already know it don't matter if I did vote, it wouldn't count. Because they don't go by my vote. My voting is a way for me to give them jurisdiction over me. But you guys don't understand. So let me say it again. It's called being an accessory. You are showing your allegiance to them, i.e., when you vote, you're showing your allegiance and your submission to their form of governing. That's your fault. Think about it. Look at all the people you know that don't vote. Did it change anything that they didn't vote? Did it change their lives because they didn't vote? No, they're still subjected to the same junk. To the same junk. You can complain about Donald Trump all you want, but you guys knew in advance that they were getting ready to put in another puppet. They let the so-called, what they call Democrats, be in office for 8 years. Remember, they let the Republicans be in office for 8 years. And before that, they let the Democrats be in office for 8 years. And before that, they let the Republicans be in office for how long? 12 years. Ronald Reagan elected in 1980. George Bush elected in what year? 1988. Clinton, 1992. This is what they've been doing. Before that, it was Carter, Ford, Nixon. It has nothing to do with the man. It has nothing to do with the party. The parties serve together. They do the same thing. All of that bickering that you see on TV, you need to pay attention. There is no bickering. They're all on the same side. Both Democrats and Republican. It's the same party. It's not a two-party system. That's why the same stupid stuff happens under the same administration. Oh, Barack Obama, he's a black man. He just became president. And had made no strides for the so-called black people. Like so many black people, he made no strides for civil rights for any group. Well, gays and lesbians got rights now because of Barack Obama. They didn't get those rights because of Barack Obama. They got those rights because they were slated to get those rights. You guys are not even paying attention. To be gay or to be lesbian doesn't make it a civil right. That makes it a personal choice, a personal right, but it does not make it a civil right. They are not a group. But nobody pays attention to the fact that if a person is gay or lesbian, that they are not part of a specialized group. That's like saying, and I'm elderly, I'm part of a group. Yeah, it's called senior citizens. Okay? But I assure you that that's what they were planning on doing. The reason why senior citizens have rights is because most of the congressmen and the congresswomen were growing older, and their friends were complaining to them about how they didn't have this and have that. The reason why veterans have rights is because most of them people were getting old and complaining, and they needed their votes. Because, see, when you all get out there and you vote, that lets them have proof that the public accepts their system. As long as you participate, remember, as long as you participate, you show you agree with the current way things go. Doesn't matter what side you vote for, as long as you participate. Why do you think they're always complaining about voter turnout? Notice, people, they're not complaining about voters, or what side the voters voted on. They complain about voter turnout. Because when the voters don't turn out, that shows the voters are not complacent with the system, which means if you don't support the system, they can't move forward with that system. That's why they always throw in a little bit of a tweak here, a tweak there. Just like they're throwing their own form of a lemon, a Don lemon. Okay? Sorry about this picture right here. That's not a picture I would rather for y'all to see. That picture is just in my video. No, it should be gone by now. Nope, it ain't gone. And we'll go to the next one. I download a bunch of videos, and where's the next video? Next desktop. There we go. I download a bunch of desktops. And so there are, I think I'm at, I don't know how many pictures I have. Matter of fact, I'm kind of curious now that I bring it up. Let's go here. Come on, come on, come on. We're here. Good. My other computer has a couple of, this has 2 terabytes on that hard drive, plus another terabyte here, plus almost 2 terabytes here, another 2 terabytes here. So on this computer, it's about 6 terabytes worth of hard drive space. And so I have tons of pictures, but I'm curious as to how many pictures I actually have. 4,079. Okay, 4,079 pictures, and so it goes through a slew. I've seen a couple of pictures as of late that I want to go through, but this is 4,000 pictures, and in order for me to get rid of certain pictures, I'd have to go through each one of these. That ain't easy, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't easy at all, because these things are shuffling, so I can't actually click on a particular picture when it pops up and open it up. So, oh well. My hope is that the information provides. Oh, look, isn't he cute? Looking right at us. What are you looking at, son? Why are you looking at me that way? I think he's trying to hypnotize me. Well, you can go find your hippopotamus someplace else, because you cannot hippopotamus me. Okay? So, okay, I'll go do that right now. Anyway, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that I segued off of everything. We got into this about making sure everybody understands that everyone is entitled to an opinion. You can have your opinion. You can share your opinion with whomever you like, if they will sit back and listen. You can be a part of the status quo. You can listen to the news and let the news shape your thinking, tell you what to believe, tell you what the truth is. Or you can sit back, you can analyze the facts for yourself. You can ask yourself, is that possible? Ladies and gentlemen, I watch a lot of TV shows from time to time, and I don't watch TV. I download all of the shows I watch. I watch a lot of movies. And player number one, okay? Player number one, or I think that's the name of the movie. I like a lot, okay? I like a lot. Player one, I like a lot. Steven Spielberg, piece of junk, producer. But let me just say that one was okay. Some parts of it was, oh God, please stop. But I liked it. It allowed me to drift away, to at least use my imagination periodically while watching the show. So that's when, in my opinion, the show is good. When I can involve myself in the storyline and imagine, because I'd say people are not being trained to use their imagination. So Ready Player One, I like that particular movie a lot. I'm not saying that it deserves an Oscar, deserves an enemy, an enemy, an Emmy, but I am saying that I liked it a lot. Okay, so I can actually shout that out. But for the immense time, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to start thinking for yourselves. People tell me, well, you know so much. No, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who's around me wants to get and tap into my knowledge. I'm so tired of that. It's exhausting. It's exhausting thinking all the time. And then I have people who want me to stop thinking along the line that I'm thinking on, want me to change my way of thinking. That can't happen. I have a young person who I spoke with yesterday. I mentioned the word, and he took exception to a word that I use instead of taking what I'm saying in context. When I do videos, people will take exception to a word. Got to keep my composure because it upsets me greatly that individuals want to nitpick on words and not deal with the subject matter, not deal with the actual context. But because you said party instead of parties, now they want to get with you and tell you why you shouldn't use the word parties. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't get to control my language. You don't get to control how I speak, what words I use. Those are my words. They're coming out of my mouth. I control them, not you. But this person wanted to control how I spoke. And I told them, no, when you're speaking with me, you take my words contextually. And I often have to tell people, look, I'm kidding, because they take me so seriously. This is not serious. To this day, and then I'm going to leave off of this part right here because I'm just going to mention it. I have one guy who literally thought that he could take advantage of me. He got information from me on a particular subject. He didn't know, and he knows now because I made it quite clear on video. He didn't know that I'd only given him partial information. Why? Because I can tell when people are trying to use me. You know, you give a person an inch and they'll sit up there and take a whole football field. So I knew that this person was trying to use me, and I gave them my time. I gave them my time because it's an experiment. I wanted to see how long they would pretend. I helped this person. I told him I would help improve his skills in basketball. He told me, kind of proud of himself at the time, about his percentage. I knew he wasn't telling me the exact truth about the percentage, but he was saying things that were familiar. So I knew that he was telling me some truth. Then lo and behold, he decided that he wasn't going to communicate. Okay, no problem. And then he went and played basketball overseas. That was November. He should be, championship should be over because their championships usually end right about this time. And haven't heard a word. Hadn't told me anything about how much better, whether he improved this year or not. Not a word. It's okay. It's what people do. But I allowed him, he wanted to work on those promissory notes. Yeah, that's the main reason why he was communicating. And so I gave him a little bit of pointers. And then I let go because that's what I do. The same with Ron. When Ron came on board and I gave him a little bit of pointers about how to do adverse possession, I didn't give him all of the pointers. I didn't know that the idiot, but I could have seen it coming. That's why I only gave him part of the information. I didn't know that the idiot was going to tell people he had successfully done 300. How could you successfully do 300 adverse possessions and you're just now learning it from me in 2012, the end of 2012? By 2013, this idiot, Ron West, said that he had done 300 adverse possessions. Amazing! Yeah, he's a keeper. Those are just some of the wonderful experiences I have in doing videos, which is why I know some of you are going to say, I'm not like that. I would never do that. I would blah, blah, blah. I don't care, people. It's too late. That's what you all are not getting. I don't need any of you as friends. I don't want any of you as friends. Because too many people in front of you have come and they have used sledgehammers, knives, hatchets, swords, cutting machines, etchers, whatever it is out there that could cause damage, they have already used it to their advantage. And they have caused more damage than any of you could ever make up for. So they've ruined it for you. Sorry. And there is no way, you must understand, for any of you to undo what they have done. I have to go. I've talked too long. This video is 1 hour and 27 minutes, and it's an hour longer than it should have been. I got to talk about a bunch of things that I've been wanting to get off my chest, especially the STEPHON Clark issue. I've gotten to talk about that. I am so sorry that they're doing that family that way. But my hope is the same as I knew. Pay attention. With the Charles Oakley story, you guys remember that. Those of you who watched the video, I saw what happened to Charles Oakley. I did a video on it pointing out exactly all of the facts just by looking at the video for the first time, and notice how quickly that situation changed for that young man because I knew somebody would get the information to them. My hope is the beginning of this video, somebody will get across to the Clark family so that they can see all of the issues dealing with the attorney. That attorney is not their friend. That attorney is not their friend. He's doing it for his own advantage. So keep him. Don't get rid of him. You guys are using each other. I know it doesn't seem like that, but you have to look at it like that. You're using each other. Make sure he stops saying this is what the family believes. Make sure he starts saying this is what the evidence shows. Not what the family believes. It has nothing to do with what the family believes. What the family believes, that's emotion. Emotion doesn't play into a lawsuit. And he's only there because there is going to be a suit. And there should be a federal investigation because the police tried to cover it up. They tried to tamper with evidence. That's why they muted the microphone. So make sure the attorney starts portraying the situation as if it's a police issue and not a family. This is how they feel. This is what they believe. It has nothing to do with beliefs. It has everything to do with facts. Sorry, they're never going to give you guys the total due for the life of a human. Okay? But you make sure you highlight the correct points, go after them federally and civilly. Remember, your jury is not going to be black. That's Sacramento. Sorry. They make sure that you don't get blacks on a jury. You guys, you really need to pay attention to how juries are selected. They make sure of that. And then they make sure that the people on the jury are not the people who are from the neighborhood. And everybody who's going to be on the jury dealing with any lawsuit, dealing with STEPHON Clark, please understand, they're going to be on that jury because they want to be able to say, I was on a STEPHON Clark jury. Just like we had several people who just wanted to be associated with SATCOM to be able to say they were associated with SATCOM. All right, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gents, have a good day. Sorry I took too long, but I think it was worth it. At least in my opinion, it was worth it. Goodbye.